Welcome to our latest Partner Spotlight webinar with our partner Jamf. We're going to be discussing how we are better together. First, a little bit of housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded and we'll send out a follow-up email with a link to the webinar recording. Also, we will have Alex in the background monitoring the chat, so feel free to drop in any questions and we'll address those all in our Q&A at the end. A little bit of introduction. I am Brandon Kirklen, our product manager, specifically in our EDR space here at Red Canary. And I have the pleasure to be joined with the amazing Matt Woodruff. We'll be doing some introduction on our two companies, on how we operate, and then show how we operate together. So elaborate on some of the value adds and force multipliers that we accomplish together. And we'll wrap up with a few demos of this solution as it's working today. To start off on this, let's talk about what we do here at Red Canary. So what we do is we deliver managed detection and response across your IT environment with the goal of protecting your organization from the next cybersecurity threat. We do this across a number of key services, including 24-hour threat hunting, detection, investigation, remediation, as well as validation and testing our solutions on an ongoing basis. Touching briefly on each one of these, threats don't operate 9 to 5, so our experts are available to you at any time. Threats don't just hit endpoints, so we cover production environments, cloud workloads, SaaS threat feeds, identity, email, and network too, extending MDR beyond the endpoint. We proactively educate not just our customers, but also our industry as a whole by releasing threat intelligence regularly and through our robust Atomic Red Team open source projects. And most importantly, in my mind, we answer that so what by enabling response and remediation via our automation workflows and orchestration, as well as humans at keys, with our incident handlers jumping in wherever needed. Taking this one step further, we also offer our active remediation service with 24-hour hands-on keys threat remediation. Jamf is one of our latest integrations and an excellent fit into the Red Canary portfolio, really unlocking that macOS telemetry that we need with their awesome Apple native support. So Matt's going to dig into some of the details there. Handing it off to Matt now.
Awesome, and thank you so much, Brandon. And with that, Jamf is a quick intro with our company overview in regards to what do we do. We've been around since 2002 and focused primarily up front with Apple management as we were seeing the increase of Apple devices in various organizations. Management was always a very hard function to complete as Macs were getting rolled out in education and enterprise organizations. Then we lately expanded into making sure that we can connect your users as they are on their Apple devices to your cloud identity provider, while also listening to our customers in the need to protect their data as it's sitting on each one of these Apple devices. So that's where we're going to focus in on today as we look at our product portfolio next. As you look at our AEM, or Apple Enterprise Management Platform, you'll recognize we have multiple columns that we try to supply solutions for as Apple first and Apple best. First, you need to manage your devices. So we have multiple solutions to help you no matter what size and type of organization you may be, while also helping manage content and content filtering with Jamf data policy. Then we get into connecting your users, making sure that as you try to implement a cloud identity provider, that you can implement those across your Apple devices, including any type of ZTNA or conditional access policies you might want to implement. Our focus today will be on this third column, protecting your data, and more specifically, the Jamf Protect product. As we have seen an amazing increase of macOS devices within the enterprise and education facilities, you'll need to understand that the requirements to have security telemetry off these endpoints and being able to identify malware behaviors is one of our key points. And that's what we'll talk about today with this Red Canary integration. We do have the fourth column there. We're talking about specific workflows and integrations that we have for unique industry needs that you might exist in. So please reach out to Jamf for any further questions you may have around those. Next slide. Now, as you look at Jamf Protect, this is the goal that we have, is this exclusive protection that you're going to need for macOS because it's so unique to the industry. It's not like your other devices. It has a unique processor, the Apple Silicon with M1. Then you also have a unique operating system that works drastically different than the other operating systems you have in your environment. So, therefore, having a unique endpoint security product that helps validate that you are providing an antivirus or anti-malware-like protections, but also monitoring the behaviors is where you can get into our unique solution that we're talking about today. Jamf Protect is able to provide that secure device configuration while doing CIS security benchmark scoring across your platform. And that's the next bullet point of next generation endpoint protection is where we'll really focus in on the next slides. But the last one is network threat prevention. And we'll talk about this new feature that we have in preview in the upcoming slides. One of our goals is making sure that we can protect you against any type of macOS specific attack that is occurring on your device while streaming that data to Red Canary so that they can continue monitoring all those types of behaviors globally for you and identify those techniques quickly. One of the first things that you'll usually want to check off with any type of endpoint protection is, hey, can it block just natively known malware that already pre-exists that everyone knows about? Most people call this antivirus or anti-malware, where you have a known signature database. Yes, we can do that. But there's also additional capabilities within Apple's endpoint security framework where we now give you the option to also go in there and set up custom prevent list of various applications or processes you would like to not run on your macOS devices, all completing this with incredibly minimal end user blocking of CPU processes and utilization. So therefore, the end users have a great experience and productivity increase. The next thing that we'll talk about is also protecting against sophisticated attacks when it looks at malware behaviors. So that's one of the things that we've done very specifically is build out our new Jamp threat labs, where we actually have a dedicated set of macOS security researchers that are monitoring all of this data and able to present types of analytics to monitor against any type of known or even unknown type of attack vectors. This is also mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK macOS framework, allowing you to also be able to see what coverage do we have and can we actually protect against the TTPs and IOCs that are known in the industry today. This is where we get into our behavior detections, and all of these telemetries will be sent over. That's where you'll get to have these alerts, and yes, they will be presented to you in the Jamf Protect console. Our goal, though, is also focused on making sure and sending this to Red Canary, where they have been educated and are continuously trained on the abilities of macOS attacks and what types of new threats might be occurring on macOS devices across the world. These are also custom built by you, so you can send this rich telemetry to whatever backend you may choose in addition to Red Canary. One additional feature that's come out recently is also the ability, when you're talking about additional vectors, you talk about network type of inbound threats that might be occurring. And we've listened to our customers in regards to this request. So we finally have come out with a new feature, and it's called Network Threat Prevention. So next slide. One of the new features as a latest acquisition by Jamf, we now have this capability of monitoring at the network layer any type of zero-day attacks that might be happening across your organization on macOS, allowing for phishing, cryptojacking, or maybe even some type of spam or malicious intent by a DNS entry will in fact be prevented, blocked, and even a warning will be presented to the end user about its malicious intent. All of this is completed by our new AI with our threat intelligence engine called Miriam. And again, this is simple and secure, very easy to deploy on your endpoints using Jamf Protect. And this is really going to focus in on the strategy we've worked with Red Canary on, is making sure that this workflow is completely seamless from end to end, and making sure Jamf Protect can feed that data, but also how is it fed and feeding into the right location and very immediate in its threat intelligence feed. The first thing as we look at deployment is making sure that it's very easy for you to complete this. Jamf Protect, when tied with Jamf Pro, is a very, as we call it, frictionless design. Basically, we are able to use our native APIs in order to get the package and the configuration profile deployed out to the endpoints immediately, even at the time of the Apple Business Manager enrollment occurring. And that way, endpoint security is consistent across all of your organizations, or you might have multiple departments as well, where they might have different types of security plans attached because of their different threat categories. So you'll see that on the next slide, or the transition. All of this completed so that the endpoint can actually send this data through Jamf Protect Cloud over to Red Canary using our integration, or utilizing some GraphQL APIs. You might be able to ascertain some of that data directly from our cloud console, or optional, completely optional, as we state here, sending it to your native SIEM or SOAR backend for any type of data lake or data scraping that you might need. That allows us to build out this native integration with Red Canary in a very easy and seamless process for all of you. Back over to Brandon.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt, for really talking us through all of that. This is kind of the perfect handoff for me to step in and explain what we do with all of that awesome telemetry and alerts that we do get from Jamf Protect. So as this data flows into Red Canary, it's first picked up by our standardizer and kind of correlated with any other data sources you're utilizing. From there, our suite of detectors analyze that raw telemetry that we do get from Jamf Protect in order to look for any kind of identified threats there. Those are then taken from correlated with any other native alerting sources from Jamf Protect or other alerting sources too, for instance, identity or SaaS alerts. Those alerts and threats are then packaged up and reviewed by our team of expert humans in our SOC before any actions are taken there. Those actions are highly customizable to your environment and generally include publishing with a severity and executing any appropriate generated playbooks. When you're onboarded with Red Canary, our incident handling team helps you set up any of those automated response actions that are relevant for your organization. This includes Slack messaging, email alerting, syslog, direct actions with Jamf Pro, as well as any custom webhooks that you've set up as well. So this allows you to very quickly remediate those threats, often without any needed resources on your side. What this all kind of rolls up into together is an awesome combined solution where Red Canary is able to provide excellent macOS endpoint protection via that market-leading macOS MDM and protection that Jamf offers. So our layered service allows you to reduce alert fatigue via our expert human review, accelerated remediation with our automated response capabilities, and access to our 24/7 team, all available to you, all you can eat. All this really is enabled on what I believe, at least, is the only true Apple native security solution out there, Jamf, with day one support for all Apple releases, allowing you to really continue with a highly active patching program that covers that security gap that exists as you do accelerate that adoption really quickly. So coupling this with all that native access that Red Canary's accelerated time to value enables, quick action on all those Jamf Protect alerts to stop those threats faster than anyone else. To dig into that last accelerator a bit more, here's a picture of one of our design partner customers' last year of utilization with Jamf Protect. This customer has around 900 endpoints under management with us, creating some 812 million telemetry records, which all funnel down into some 4,000 some odd investigative leads that are then investigated by our CERT. We analyze those to create alerts correlated with other activities that we've seen, and then confirm those finally as threats. So that's that 19 detections that we've then published. As a further layer of prioritization and escalation here, we have severity rankings with those confirmed threats as well. So all terabyte plus data all combines to make 4 high severity detections. Unlikely to have been caught by the EDR alone, and even less likely to pull in all of your other products. So these are the kind of alerts that we want to wake us up at night. Like we were discussing before, this kind of kicks off that virtuous cycle of making sure that we're really kept up to date with enabling that early patching, allowing us to detect, respond, recover, and improve faster. So when you become a security ally with us, you get a really customized and individual onboarding cycle. So we partner with you through that initial purchase, onboarding, and for the life of your account with us. We extend this to all of our solutions, especially with our Jamp customers. So we want to ensure that you have the best experience deploying that solution. We make recommendations and support your team as an extension of your organization. As you'll see later, in some of our demos, our platform is chock full of content, knowledge, and our own homework created to inform, educate, and level up your operations. Our team of incident handlers is experienced and available, working around the clock to make sure if something does go bump in the night, your team is aware. They understand macOS threats better than anyone in the industry, especially supported by this telemetry that we're receiving from Jamf. We're here to partner with you and make sure that your organization is up to date with everything that's relevant in these fields. As we want to look together to see how we can incorporate our macOS threats compared to Windows and Linux, together with Jamf, we're able to really help each other be better in protecting us there. Matt, did you have any other comments on kind of the Jamf deployment coaching that we're enabling here?
Yeah, just be an awareness as you become a security ally with both of us. Jamf Protect, upon purchase, we do have a lot of assistance that we do provide, whether it be Jamf training courses that are online and available, to guides that are available online for both evaluating the product and deploying the product and making sure that the configuration is set up in such a way that it's going to be highly successful for both you as well as Red Canary as they'll be receiving this telemetry stream, while also recognizing we have an incredible host of experts in understanding how to deploy this macOS-specific agent onto macOS devices in the right way that obviously Apple has built the frameworks for.
Absolutely. And Red Canary doesn't just stop with that Jamf Protect side, like Matt's mentioning. We really dig in to make sure that we utilize that incredible solution on the MDM side with Jamf Pro to enable endpoint isolation as well as other response activities. From here, we're going to jump over into first a demo of how Jamf Protect really ends up getting set up, and then Matt will hand it off back over to me so we can talk about that transition from the telemetry and alerts generated there into Red Canary.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. With that, we'll go ahead and start sharing out what does the Jamf Protect console look like. So here we've got the Jamf Protect. It is our general use demo environment. So we have some demo events that are happening within this particular environment. And yes, this is our dashboard. This is available to all of our customers. Granted, we all hope at this point that you'll recognize the value that Red Canary's MDR service has, and therefore you may not be spending a lot of time in these particular dashboards, but they are readily available to you, and your Red Canary team can help you navigate what you may or may not be seeing within this environment. So let's focus in on certain capabilities that are configurable by you, allowing Red Canary to take action more quickly, as well as also receive all of the right security telemetry that you're needing within your environment. So first and foremost, we've got the threat prevention. As mentioned before, this is that antivirus-like feature, meaning it's threat prevention of all known malware signatures that exist. And we're actively updating this consistently, also showing you how many are not on the latest version of the signature database. But that's not where we stop there. It was talking about earlier where we do offer you that capability of blocking certain applications, processes. And we even go so far to offer up Apple Developer Signing ID or Team ID blocking capabilities. So if you have found a particular developer that you would like for all of their built applications and processes to not execute environment, then you can absolutely set this up. And as you set this up, anytime they are blocked on the endpoints, that telemetry will get sent to Red Canary so that they're aware of that action being taken place. We also have unified logging filters built into our product, allowing you to go in and set up or even work with Red Canary on setting up certain UL filters, or otherwise known as unified logging filters, so that you can see things like airdropped transfers that are happening. Kind of really good if you want to see if a particular file or spreadsheet is getting sent outbound to another device that is not one of your corporate devices. We also have a lot of additional ones that we offer up in our repository of UL filters that we offer our customers. As you get those set up, you can also set up device controls where you are blocking all types of USB or only blocking certain types of USB mass storage devices. Then you'll want to go through the process of also recognizing that we have a lot of built-in analytics. These are our behavior detections. As you take a look at behavior detections, you can see that we have a lot of both MITRE ATT&CK framework built out tags so that you can see how much of the framework of macOS we do cover, while also recognizing that, hey, if it's the Buka malware, we actually have all of the known malware versions getting blocked and quarantined today. But what if there's a behavior that acts similar to the Buka malware? We're also going to be able to send that high severity alert over to Red Canary, allowing them to do further investigations and incident response handling for any types of behaviors that we're seeing. So as you set up these settings, a few things to recognize as you go through the Jamf Protect console is, hey, you know what? Maybe the US-based department or division within your organization might need to have a certain level set of settings set up because they're different. They've got a different set, also different regulations set for US-based employees. So you're not underneath the GDPR of the European Union, other items. So you can go through and set up what those custom settings are, what level of data you would like to be sent to your own data lake, then also set up what these plans are for these different divisions. And that's where we go into plans. We're US-based or Atlanta office support, which that's me. I'm based in Atlanta. So you go through the process of setting up, do I want threat prevention to block and report on all known malware or just report? What's the logging level? How frequently do you want the agent to be syncing up with the cloud? As well as any type of other visibility of analytics that you want to view for this entire set of plans. But more specifically, what's unique about the Jamf Protect environment is this ability of setting up data forwarding, where we have set up by default that all analytics or behavior detections, threat preventions, anytime we block a mass storage device, or you go over to unified logging filters and you would like those to be sent over to Red Canary, it's a very simple toggle of an AWS S3 forwarding, and Red Canary will give you all the information needed to set up both the bucket, the prefix, and any type of administrative role or context or tokens that might need to be exchanged so that you can get Jamf Protect data to stream over to Red Canary, and that's how seamless it is. At any point, you click on Save, and it will immediately update all agents that are deployed at that time, as well as set up configuration for future enrollments of new macOS devices that you'll be introducing to your environment. And so that's a quick view of the Jamf Protect console as it sits today for actions that we see when partnered with Red Canary as an MDR service, that you'll understand the configuration of and deployment of the agent and the package. One last call out is that we do have the API client base set up here so that you can set up that native API integration between Jamf Protect and Jamf Pro, while also setting up any additional GraphQL endpoints. You can also set up this API client integration here as well. And that's the Jamf Protect console. But as we set up this data forwarding, I believe this is where Brandon gets to take over and tell you, okay, once you get this AWS S3 bucket set up and start sending it to Red Canary, what does Red Canary do with the data, Brandon?
That's awesome. Good handoff, Matt. So this is where the Red Canary magic starts to happen. So what we have here is the beginning of the Red Canary version of the dashboard. So once we go and take that telemetry in from the Jamf Protect clients, inside of that streaming over into our S3 bucket, we standardize that, evaluate the terms of it, start our correlation process with any other alerts that we're receiving, external alerts that we're receiving, including Jamf Protect ones, as well as across the rest of your environment. Pull that all together into what we consider to be events. So starting off with endpoints, those flow into telemetry. That then goes into our events section. So right here, we see 20 of them in this demonstration environment. Those events are then adjudicated by our CERT and published as detections. Finally, that kind of wraps up with automation actions being taken place off of it. So if we jump into one of those threats, let's kind of check out what we get from that. So out of the Jamf Protect client, we're going to be getting raw telemetry from those devices. So that includes down to the level of process starts, logon events, file modifications, all together pulled up into our threat timeline. This is what ends up getting presented to our expert humans. So they go in here and use our custom suite of detections, all available to be viewed by you and understood, to understand what actions are being taken on the endpoints themselves. So in this case, we can see a command line open for a particular application, the stay open app. This then passes off to a shell script. On the network side, like Matt was mentioning, we get that telemetry as well and pull that all in together to say, hey, here's what's happening on that endpoint. We have a threat detected. Our analyst then comes in here and confirms that and publishes that into our timelines here for your team to start viewing. This is all a cohesive set of one unified source so that you can view this across your environment. You can add in notes here for review later, either for your records or your team's records. You can even post questions back into our incident handling team, trying to if you're curious about any aspects of these or wanting to understand more. What we don't see here also that then executes after this is any kind of remediation actions that we've chosen to take place. So as we go in to investigate some of these other endpoints, we have all these automation actions that can take place as well. So when we see detections of type with specific types and triggers associated with them, we're able to execute these kinds of playbooks that then take that data and do something with it, the kind of so what side of Red Canary. So these could cover quite a few different areas. We can kind of drill into those. So either they can be endpoint specific and take actions on the EDR themselves, isolating ban hashes, other appropriate things on the endpoints themselves, all with optional executive review from your side too. So if you have some endpoints of critical importance, those can be reviewed before they take place or just take place directly in certain parameters as well. We also have these other kind of supplementary actions too on the alerting side. So this can be email sends, voice calls. We can add in other actions on the Okta side, taking other integrations from all of the other providers that Red Canary supports. We can send Slack messages, move this all into syslog notifications, as well as execute kind of other webhooks and APIs that you would be interested in. So really a cohesive set of response that's layered on top of that great telemetry that we're receiving from Jamf Protect. Other things that I wanted to call attention to as we're building up those overall threats is what we wanted to make sure is we educate both our community as well as you, our customers, when we get into these situations. So when a new threat comes in, we link this over into our existing intelligence insights. So these are all of the profiles that our team has been putting together to understand these malicious actors in this case. So these are associated with either a particular name on a vulnerability, as well as digging into individual providers as well. All of this is available inside of your endpoint or inside of your Red Canary instance, so you can investigate these and understand exactly what is going on, both from the Red Canary side as well as what we're looking for. So this will be associated with any published threat that you end up seeing. Some great stuff on here on the executive summary side that you can easily drop into an email and kind of keep that active status and information flowing while in some of these really stressful events. Red Canary really wants to partner with you and become your ally to remediate some of these things. So digging into this particular one, this was the threat or profile associated with that incident that we were looking at earlier. This is part of our Red Canary suite of testing that we can use to validate these solutions as they exist today. Partially with our Atomic Red Team framework too, this pulls together a cohesive framework for you to test out these full integrations and make sure that all of this telemetry is correctly flowing and you see response actions being taken appropriately. Jumping back over into our slides, we have a poll for you. If you'd like to learn any more information about the Red Canary or Jamp solutions that we've presented today, Alex will be dropping that link into the chat. You can also schedule some custom demos if you're interested in getting more detail here. Next up, we have some Q&A. Please feel free to continue to drop those questions into the Q&A. Let's see if we have any from Alex today.
Hi, yeah, great work, Matt and Brandon. We did have a few come in. So we have one in the Q&A right now. Is Red Canary available in Europe?
Yeah, I can take that one. So Red Canary is definitely available in Europe. There's a particular country exception in there, but as far as taking in telemetry and data from any EU endpoints, that's totally on board, and your account executive can help you out with navigate some of those details as well.
Awesome. Another one that came in directly, which Jamf products do you need in order to layer on Red Canary?
So Matt can definitely dive into the details on this one. From the Red Canary perspective, we utilize both the telemetry from Jamp Protect, and then we utilize the Jamf Pro MDM solution to manage and respond to those threats that we see.
That's correct. So Jamf Protect and Jamf Pro will be needed for this Red Canary integration to work.
Okay, great. And I know we had one come in earlier in the chat about addressing the threat from the Jamf console. Matt, do you want to touch on that a little bit more?
Yes. One of the things that we are diligently working on with Red Canary is how to appropriately respond to the various behaviors that will exist and be presented when Jamf Protect is installed on a macOS endpoint. So we've gotten to the point now where there is this native integration between Jamf Pro and Jamf Protect on the product side, while we have the knowledge and experience that Red Canary is going to be giving you to help understand with any type of behaviors that are found, what are the appropriate responses on a macOS endpoint, while also understanding that the product integration will greatly help with not only, as mentioned in the chat, in case you don't have chat open at this time, I did respond as well that known malware, so usually that AV function, we are actually going to block and quarantine all known malware on device without any further interaction by any company, it will actually be a full endpoint security framework blocking quarantine, while malware behaviors need to be assessed.
I think you might have cut out there a little bit, Matt, but just to jump in there, absolutely, Jamf Protects immediately takes those first remediation actions. Red Canary will get notified, and you'll kind of get alerting through this automation actions that you've set up inside of Red Canary. But it's great that Jamf Protect takes immediate action as far as blocking that known malware. Generally, the value add and layering on top there is when you want to go and take one step further. So when we get in those alerts that there's something critical happening, we go and investigate those further and look for any kind of lateral movement or other threat associated in the environment. Matt, if you came back on.
Possibly. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. And this actually flows into Peter's question that he just asked. I would suggest, Peter, that you set up time with a joint Red Canary plus Jamf to show you how the remediation tasks do work between both products and their Red Canary services. So please, follow up with us after this call.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have a bunch of different remediation actions that we can take. A big one right now that is super valuable is that endpoint isolation. Being able to accomplish that through Jamf Pro lets us quickly isolate and keep those threats from spreading beyond the endpoint. EU pricing is available for Red Canary. Please reach out to our sales teams and they'll help you out there.
And one additional one, because I did state that we would answer it live that I don't want to miss out on from Christopher, is this for iPads as well. This particular integration, and more specifically the Jamf Protect product, is for macOS devices only. There are products from Jamf, like Jamf Threat Defense and Jamf Data Policy, that will help with mitigating threats on mobile devices like iPhones and iPads. But today, that integration we are working on with Red Canary. So please stay tuned as we continue to create new press releases to announce when that integration is completed. So if you are in the project plans for deploying any type of mobile security platforms for iPads, just please keep Jamf and Red Canary up to date with those project plans, please.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to pulling all of those mobile device alerts into Red Canary as well.
Awesome. And just one more that came in directly. What makes Jamf's endpoint solution for macOS unique?
Oh, excellent question, because we are very well aware there are multiple security solutions that exist, especially just endpoint security in general. The EDR space, the AV space, the DLP space is quite cluttered with multiple brand names. And what we had found at Jamf over, we've got now 62,000 customers worldwide. We kept receiving feedback that the deployment of an endpoint security product on macOS was a horrible experience for the end users. They would have incredible performance degradation, and therefore they weren't able to be productive. So Jamf did go through multiple acquisitions over the last 4 years, where we have now this Jamf Protect product that is completing both endpoint and network security for macOS devices, that we're really excited is highly focused on day of release support. So every time Apple does and provides an upgrade or update, like Ventura coming out this fall, you are promised, and we have a history of supporting the latest macOS as it comes out. But on top of that, we're heavily integrated within the operating system so that we are providing you the best telemetry stream into Red Canary. That way, you're constantly being able to assess threats across macOS devices at the highest speed and credibility of the stream that's possible and what can exist for macOS. So we're really excited about our offering that we're presenting to the world as a macOS focused security solution.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nobody that does it quite like Jamf.
Thank you, Brandon.
Okay, great. And one final one that just came in directly. Which industries do Jamf and Red Canary support?
We don't have too much of a particular industry focus, at least here at Red Canary. So we have some concentrations, but as far as particular industries that we do support, there's not a short list there. Big focus in education, lots of small, medium business is a big focus for us as well. Really happy to take telemetry from anywhere and everywhere.
And the same goes with Jamf Protect. We have no particular industry that we are focused in on. We do have customers of both education, enterprise, SMB, and multiple industry types that are utilizing Jamf Protect these days. And so we're really excited to make this product available to all.
Awesome. I think that wraps up Q&A. Thank you all so much for joining, and thank you, Matt and Brandon, for the presentation.
Thanks, Alex, for running everything. And thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it.